Paradigm's a very interesting company, actually. Ordinarily, when you think of biopharmaceuticals or tech companies, if they're testing out a new program or testing out a new drug, the outcome is very binary. Either it works or it doesn't work. What we found was when we discovered Paradigm, they were in the middle of their stage 2B trials. And again, ordinarily, as relatively conservative investors, value investors as we are, we would steer clear of those sorts of companies. But at the same time as they were running their stage 2B trials, they were also treating patients in the real world under a special access scheme in Australia. So I think they've been treating some 500 odd patients over the last couple of years. So we weren't relying wholly on clinical trials to work out whether or not this drug worked or not. We could look at real world outcomes and work out and establish that this drug does in fact work. So their main focus at the moment is treating osteoarthritis in the knee. So far, their results from the real world and from the clinical trials have been exceptional. And we look at it and say, if they can address just 10% of the Australian market, what's that worth? We think it's probably worth around about $600 million per year, just 10% of the Australian osteoarthritis market. Currently, their market cap is around about $200 million. Now again, I understand with biopharmaceutical companies, pre-stage 3 trials, there's always the risk that something will crop up, something will come up, and we discover that this drug doesn't work, or this drug has a terrible safety issue. But this is a drug that's been repurposed. This is a drug that's been used for 65 years as an anticoagulant, mostly in Europe. We know the safety profile of this drug, and we know it works. So you ask me, what's a drug worth where if it taps just 10% of the Australian market, and that market is $600 million, I don't know what multiple you can put on that, but it's certainly not a multiple of 0.4. So yeah, the outlook looks very, very positive. So far, stage 2B trials have gone well. Primary data and secondary data have both come back and shown exceptional results. The company now has enough funding to go to stage 3 trials by itself, but I don't think it'll probably stay as an independent company over the next couple of years. I think what's most likely going to happen is they will begin their stage 3 trials. The big pharmaceutical companies will recognize the value inherent therein, and there'll most likely be either a takeover offer or some sort of regional deal struck. Once a regional deal is struck, the market would get a real sense of what the company is worth, and I suspect that a market cap of $200 million will be a long forgotten memory.